Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Stock Market Outlook video brought to you by DeepView. As always, we're going to dive into the market indexes, leading groups, and run through the DeepView leader screen and talk about the strongest stocks in the market. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's start with the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. We continue to show constructive action here, pretty much going sideways into the end of this week after a nice gap up. And to me, it really stands out that so far we've been able to hold this gap right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see us fill it a little bit. Maybe we get a type of shakeout bar that closes back within this range. But for me, the fact that this is able to basically hold up this well is definitely a sign of strength. And we'll have to see whether it continues to hold that. But so far, we're consolidating this move up through time rather than a pullback. But I'd still like to see us consolidate a little bit more and let that 21 EMA catch up to price, as well as that 50 SMA start to curl up a little bit more. But nevertheless, we're in a short-term uptrend. We've been like that since this day right here, where we had an expectation breaker, closed, right near that 21 EMA, and then popped through it. And we really sprung into action here with a lot of individual names as well acting very, very strong, not just the indexes and the Mag 7 acting well, but overall breadth has been improving. And especially this last week, we saw the Russell 2000 start to, click into gear as well. So far with the QQQ, pretty strong action, forming a range out near highs. We'll see if we can break through this high and continue onwards. I wouldn't mind to see more consolidation, even a little bit of a leak into this gap area. We'll see if it fills or not. That remains to be seen, but so far, very strong action from the QQQ. Bringing up the Russell 2000 Growth Index, the IWO. This gives you a nice sense of how smaller cap growth names are acting. We saw a similar gap up. We try to push higher, and let me turn on the 200 SMA as well. We try to push higher into that 200-day SMA area. We're unable to close well on that day. We closed near lows, fall through to the downside, but then a nice day today. Acting well and looks like more of a short-term consolidation. And this is the key level that I'm watching from this prior point of resistance. But we're back above that 50 SMA, above a rising 21 EMA. I'd love to see a range form out here and then a press onward through that 200-day moving average and start to see some higher highs and higher lows forming on the right-hand side. Still some work to do here, especially to get back above that 200 SMA, but definitely constructive action. Love seeing these gaps and a little bit of a changing character over the past few weeks, along with what we've seen on the QQQ, as well as individual stocks as well. So in terms of the indexes, bringing back the QQQ, things are looking good. We're in an uptrend here. And then, as soon as we've kind of determined that our job is to identify the strongest groups in the market and the strongest stocks in the market to focus our capital on. So with that said, let's talk about some thematic ETFs. This is kind of one way to use some top-down approach to identify, what groups have been acting well. I've got a deep list in here that's just full of different ETFs that represent different areas of the market. And this really helps just with a quick sort of either percent change on a 5-day basis, or even if you want to do this on a daily basis, just quick sort by that or weekly closing range gives you a sense of, what's the strongest group in the market. And what really stood out this week was the genomics. ARCG is up at the top here. If we click that, you can see it's been acting well off lows. Solar names also have been acting well. And we just actually introduced a feature in DeepView where if you click the H next to an ETF, you can load up the holdings and quickly go through these names. So this is definitely really, really helpful and allows you to really do that top-down approach, really effectively and save you time during your process. But a quick glance at this, pretty much everything was up this week and acting well. Oil was down a little bit here, but for the most part, most ETFs were acting quite well. But there are some weeks where the divergences are super clear and it really helps you narrow down onto those leading groups. So I highly recommend basically setting up an ETF watch list like this. And, using these parameters, the weekly closing range is another way to do it. You can sort by the weekly closing range and see what's been strongest overall on that basis, as well as the 5-day performance, as well as if you want to do it on a daily basis, the DCR or price percent change today. So with that said, let's run through now the DeepView leaders screen here in the DeepView platform. This is a screen, so this is updated daily. It typically has about 50 to 60 names in a good market, and is basically, you know, focused on the highest quality names, strongest relative strength, strongest growth potential, a strong trend as well as a great kind of sourcing area for ideas, especially if you don't have time to go through 300, 400 names. You can simply load this up and it will take care of finding the leaders for you. So let's go ahead and run through these different charts and I'll give you my take on their action. So AEO, really nice trend above the 21 EMA. Nothing much to say here. It tried to push higher today on higher volume, closed poorly, maybe sign that it needs more digestion and a short-term pullback is in order, but overall just in a nice longer-term trend, and nothing much to say other than that. Affirm, tightening up here on the right-hand side, above a rising 21 EMA. We're at this kind of key level over on the left-hand side. Some nice gaps and power up from the bottom, but a little bit volatile action as well. So I want to see more of a tight range form here. You see RMV coming down, especially the last 2 days as we've been tightening up, but still a little bit of work to do to set up a nice potential push higher. But from a longer term perspective, let's load up a weekly here. You can see that could potentially be starting a stage 2 uptrend if we do get a push out of here on volume. So that is Affirm. Moving on, we've got ANET. Nice action fall through off the upside reversal here above a rising 21 and 50 SMA, and definitely a stock that's been leading, throughout this year. Bringing up AMP, nice action, nice trend. Earnings are coming up. It's kind of extended going into earnings. The last true base here was really, I guess back here. I mean, it's pretty much been ascending this entire year, especially back half of this year. But just in a really nice, strong trend, respect for the 21 EMA, and we'll have to see what happens when it comes to earnings. APPF, not much to say here, kind of forming a longer-term consolidation. Nice action, volume, average volume is increasing here after earnings, but really needs to tighten up here before I would consider an actionable spot. You do have these two highs pretty close together, which could be a pivot, but ideally you get a little bit more tightness in this name. ARCB, super powerful off lows here, now tightening up a little bit right near these highs, but I'd like to see, a little bit more maybe, but forming out a range definitely, and you can see RMB right near zero and super strong action off these lows. BLD, really nice action here, powerful off the bottom move, right near the top of this prior base, so some consolidation would be in order here, but we're back above all those different moving averages. BPMC, nice action off lows here, above a rising 21 EMA, 50 SMA as well. And I'd like to see a handle form. There's a lot of similar charts to that, very powerful off lows, now approaching a spot where there could be some logical profit taking, and I would like to see some consolidation come in. CCJ pushed higher today from this range, above rising 21 EMA and 50 SMA, and just in trend. Not much to say here. This is the kind of last consolidation, a little bit short and stubby, but this continues to trend really nicely after it broke out of this longer term base on a pickup in volume earlier this year. CE bringing this up, continues to move higher towards the top of this prior base. Would love to see some tightness, tight few days, short-term range form, but definitely showing some strength off the bottom. And now just need to find a short-term pullback to potentially manage risk against if you're interested in this name. Cocoa tightening up here, longer-term consolidation above the moving averages, and we'll have to see how it acts from this point. Coin, definitely like how this is acting. One of my favorite setups going into next week. It's on my focus list as of this moment. Above rising 2150 SMA, forming a little bit of a consolidation here under that 100 level. And nice action today, Friday, moving higher from that inside day. RMV coming down. Maybe we get, or ideally we get one more tight day, but could definitely be actionable through this kind of weekly pivot and that 100 level. CrowdStrike, this has been a leader, trending nicely above the 21 EMA. Doesn't have much to work with as far as a consolidation, but continues to just trend really nicely and powerfully above a rising 21 EMA, and is forming it out of short-term range. Nice upside reversal, oops reversal on this Thursday. Dash, really nice action, formed this U-turn, now tightening up a lot. You can see RMV coming down to zero here. This is an earnings gap U-turn setup, actionable through these pivots right here. I was watching this pretty closely and acted really well from that point, pushed higher, and now is forming some constructive action right near the top of this prior base. Love the push higher on volume, pulling back on lower volume, and then moving higher a little bit on a pickup in volume. And we'll see how it acts from this point. Maybe we get a shakeout below these lows, recovery, and then it continues to trend above a rising 21 and 50 SMA. D-Dog, nice action, also tightening here on the right-hand side. You can see RMV coming down to 0. Nothing much to say here. Could be actionable through this mini flag. Ideally, we get a little bit more of a consolidation pullback, but definitely a spot to manage risk versus the higher low, depending on your risk tolerance. DKNG, one of the strongest stocks in the market, progressing well from this base. Nice action here. They had the analyst day, I believe, on this day, and really nice move from the HVC that was actionable on this day right here. And yeah, great action so far, and is definitely one of the leaders I'm focused on. Duolingo, nice action, follow through from the upside reversal today. And I'd like to see this form out for another week or two and maybe set up a pivot under 225. EDU, nice action, forming a tight area here against a 21 EMA. Just in a nice trend here. EXPE, these names, the Travelocity, and all those names have been super strong off lows. Not sure what the catalyst is, but it's been a theme and group that's been working, and just got to wait for consolidation here now. If you didn't grab it, lower down as it forms some, mini bases here right after the power move up. Fix acting well, strong move off lows, now just consolidating. Ugly bar here, but on not much volume. So just want to see some tightness and tightening action here from this name. FTAI, also just want to see this continue to tighten. It's above this prior base, so ideally waiting for spots near a rising 21 EMA. FTDR, another one just powerful off lows, now consolidating. It's right near this kind of swing low, so we'll see if it can find support in this area and push higher and tighten up above a rising 21 EMA. GT, nice action off lows here. Now just kind of tightening up. We'll see how it acts from this point on. HEC, this is a coal stock. Energy names actually were acting quite well. LPG, I noticed, was also acting quite well, pushing higher, closing near highs, and looks like new 52-week highs from this name as it breaks out of this consolidation. INGC, really nice move from this tight area. You can see great action here, upside reversal, outside day, and then it just took off from here into the end of the week. Nice volume coming in as well. You can see it's kind of changed character since this earnings report here. Let's see if they had a surprise. They had a 95% EPS surprise, as you can see right here. You could also click this to see the stats table and see the most recent results there. Really nice action as it broke out from this base. And obviously semiconductors is a spot to be focused on for the remainder of the year. They're currently a leading group. Overall, IoT pushing off lows here. Nice gap up and now consolidating, tightening above this anchor VWAP. And we'll see what happens as we go forward. JXN, Jackson Financial banks have also been pretty strong here. And overall, pushing higher from this consolidation above a rising 21 EMA. Not really any spot to act on the stock in the short term. KD pushed higher from this tight area. Needs a pullback to be actionable again, but acting well since this earnings gap. KKR acting well, tight area here forming, and just trending nicely overall. LI, this is choppy, but overall, above a rising 2150 SMA. You've of course got the EV theme here, which hasn't been super strong, but Tesla has woken up a little bit. So we'll see if this name can follow suit. LNW, this has been one I've been watching for quite some time. Really nice breakout from this tight area, now tightening up again, and we'll see if you can re-break out on some reconfirmation volume. LPG, nice breakout from this tight area, and just continues to trend above the rising 21 EMA. MLBY, Mobileye acting well, pushing above this very short-term pivot. I like to see more consolidation here personally, but this is quite a big base that's formed, and we'll see if you can break out through 42 and really get going here. This is a recent IPO within the past 2 years that definitely has some juice going for it if it can finally push higher, but haven't really quite seen a changing character, and this is a very choppy trading stock. MDB, this is all my focus list for this week. Really nice tight area it's forming here, compressing against this prior pivot and looking for a push higher on volume. Melly forming out a range here, nice gap up, and we'll see if we can hold up here near previous highs. MLI push off these lows in the 21 EMA. You can see it compressed nicely against that moving average and now pushed higher as moving up the right-hand side of the base. This bar does give me a little bit of pause. We'll see if you can continue to make some progress up the right side of the base. MOD, really nice action forming out a base here. I would like to see a little bit more compression, pullback into that 21 EMA area, but nice action right near 52-week highs. MPWR, nice action, tightening up here on the right-hand side and just making its way here. Really strong action off these lows. MSTR, along with coin, you've got the crypto theme that's been active, compressing nicely. We'll see if it leaks below this pivot. Maybe we get an undercut and rally similar to this day, but this could be moving and likely is moving pretty quickly one way or the other in the short term as RMV is getting compressed. MTH, nice move off lows and just forming out a range here. We'll see if this holds up. Net, really powerful move here. This also is one that could restart a stage 2 uptrend if we get above around the 75 mark. It has yet to do that, but a little bit of changing character since the most recent earnings report. Moving on, we've got Path also potentially starting a stage 2 uptrend if we can get above basically the 20 level. Still has some work to do, but forming some constructive patterns recently, and we'll have to see whether it continue to make progress. PDD, nice action, just trending above that 21 EMA, and yeah, nothing much to say here. A little bit of a consolidation here, but overall it's just trending. PLTR, really nice action today. This is really what stood out today from the stocks that I'm most focused on. Upside reversal yesterday, a nice fall through that high today, closing at new 52-week highs above the high of this prior base. And lastly, or not lastly, we've got QLYS just acting nicely after the strong move up, just in a trend. RCL moving up the right-hand side of the base. Roku, definitely a name I'm focused on. Nice action and gap up and hold. And again, nice action today, closing right near highs. Ryanair, I don't know what they solved recently, but they've been a rocket ship off these lows. Not necessarily, the highest quality name, but if you're more into swing trading or day trading, there's been a lot of volatility here to take advantage of. Shop acting well and pushing towards the highs of these prior bases, and would like to see some consolidation, pullback, form a handle, that type of thing, back into that 21 EMA, and then watching for a range of form, tight area, and that's where you can take advantage of this name. SMCI on my watch list for next week through this consolidation pivot, forming out this base here. Still has to fill this gap, hasn't quite managed to do that, but it's been a prior leader with a super strong trend and has been basing for a couple of months now, so is a lot more mature. So we'll see if this can push higher and continue to make new highs. STNE, another name, super powerful off lows. Love the volume coming in as well, compressing down the RMV, and just needs to form out this handle here and then potentially actionable through these highs. TNK, acting well, really big base here, pulling back into the 21 EMA. We'll see if this can push higher from that point. Twilio also moving off lows, nice action today. Needs a little bit more compression, maybe against a 200-day moving average, but just moving up the right-hand side. Still, a lot of overhead supply to deal with, and nothing much to do here until it gets above 70 and really changes character. Maybe we see a huge move up on volume. That would be a sign that things could finally be changing with the stock, but a really nice rally and move off the past 2 weeks. Uber, one of the strongest names in the market, great action and super strong, no give back after this gap up, and just got to wait here for the next pullback to that 21 EMA. URI, nice action here, forming a tight range near the prior base. You've seen this pattern so many times this week, and we'll see what happens from this range. VRNS, a nice action, trend above the 21 EMA. VRT, nice action. This is on my focus list. A little bit more consolidation, close to that 21 EMA, and pulling back into this prior high. So we'll see you can push higher from this point. Wix, nice move off lows here. Still some work to do, and I don't overall like the character of this name. It likes to reverse hard. And lastly, we've got Zscaler forming out a range right near these highs. So that is a run through of some names that are interesting. There's some that are more set up than others. Some have more overhead supply, better character, but overall a good group of stocks to fish in, and definitely some opportunities. I would say overall, remember to keep your losses small in this environment, as always, but also if you can't keep your losses small by managing risk, tightly and logically, then you don't really have a setup that you're focused on. So wait, be patient. The leaders will come back if you miss them. There'll be more fresh breakouts to take advantage of, and you just have to be patient and make sure you're keeping your standards high. That's what's going to pay off if we do see continuation from this point. Focus on the leaders. Those have the greatest potential. A lot of them have already kind of shown themselves. Duolingo, DKNG. If the market continues to move higher, these will likely outperform. But there could still be some new leaders that appear from earnings. And when it comes to semiconductors and AI, a lot depends on that NVIDIA report next week. We'll see how things act there. And let me bring up that chart. There we go. Earnings, coming up here. But overall, yeah, earnings coming up here on this day on Tuesday. So we'll see how things act. But other than that, best of luck this week. And I'll have another video out with my watch list later this weekend. So have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Make sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys later.